Hi, it's Nadia here, and today I'm going to show you how to put together this on-trend necklace where one side is fully beaded and the other side is a chain with charms. But before I start, please subscribe to our channel and leave us any comments or feedback. We'd love to hear from you. Let's have a look at the materials that you need to use for this necklace, and the materials I'm showing you are all in our kit. So they're counted and ready for you, but if you're making it with materials that you have at home, try and choose similar materials and of a high quality to get a good finish. So you will have 24 centimeters of a chain with a large link, so it's easy to attach the charms onto it. I have a length of tiger tail. You need 24 centimeters finished length. So I always allow 6 centimeters on each side, so 30 centimeters of tiger tail. I have a short length, 15 centimeter length of 0.6 millimeter gauge wire, some head pins or ball pins, a toggle and bar fastening, some jump rings, some clamshells, which I will show you how to use. The beads in our kit are 12 8mm pearls and 12 freshwater pearls, and an assortment of 6 beads that I will use as my charms. And for my tools, I'll be using a flash cutter, some round nose pliers, some flat nose pliers. I've got a pair of chain nose pliers because they have a smaller tip and I find them easier to use than the flat nose pliers for some of the more delicate features. You will need a ruler to measure out your lengths. And I also have some glue, which is optional, but it's quite good when using tiger tail, so I will talk you through it. And I have a little Allen key, which I've taken off a kit of something that I had for the house, but it's just very effective and very easy to use with tiger tail. But you could use a pin or a nail as well. So let's start. I'm going to start off by preparing my length of tiger tail, and the first thing I'm going to do is make a knot on one side. So you've got about 6 centimeters extra, so make your little knot and feed your clamshell through the other side, making sure that the clamshell is pointing up so it will cover your knot. And then I'm just going to feed the tiger tail back through the hole and pull it tight. So now my knot is sitting exactly in the middle of my tiger tail. Sorry, my knot is sitting in the middle of my clamshell. And I'm going to put a little dab of glue, and this is optional, but if you have it, it fills the little cavity in here better, and it will just make sure that your necklace lasts for longer, especially if you're using expensive materials and you're spending time making it. It's not a bad idea. So just give it a couple of seconds to dry. And the next thing you need to do is close your clamshell. And I start off by closing the top. So I'm going to match the little eyelets at the top, like so. And once my eyelets are matched, I'm just going to squeeze the clamshell gently so it's nice and secure. And I can start threading my beads now, and I'll show you why I've left this little tail. It's just for extra security, to make sure that it doesn't go through your clamshell and the knot unravels. So I'm going to start off by putting my large pearls, and the first few pearls I will feed the tiger tail through them again. The extra little length that I had. If you can't get it through and it's a bit short, you can cut it, but it should work out. And I do have another video which shows this to you in detail, so I'm going to put the link above so you can have a look at it now if you need some more information on the tiger tail. And you can make a pattern here. So on the original necklace we've done 3 large pearls and 3 freshwater pearls, but for this particular one I'm going to show you how to do it just with 1 pearl and then the other, but it's up to you. You can make it with alternate pearls or in 3s or in 2s, whichever you prefer. So thread your pearls along. And now your freshwater pearls. It's a bit tricky with freshwater pearls because the holes in them are in different places, so it's about finding it. And there we go. So I know that these necklaces, the ones with the materials that are sort of more using semi-precious and shell, tend to be very expensive in the shops now. So if you make it at home, you can splash out on your beads and the materials that you use, and it's still going to cost you a fraction of the price of what you would pay from one of the better brands. So it's definitely worth investing in the materials for this particular project. So in our kit we always put a few extra beads because some of the natural materials, sometimes the holes in them, they're drilled and they don't quite fit. So don't worry, just go through them and make sure that everything fits as you like. Okay, so now I've got my 12 8mm pearls and my 12 freshwater pearls all strung, and I'm going to finish it off, and this time I put my clamshell, I thread it onto the tiger tail pointing upwards, and for this one it will be easier to use a little tool to pull down your knot. So if you just make your little knot, and now take your pin or your nail and gently ease it down towards the clamshell. Then you will have no slack underneath, and you can make sure that you centralize it right into the middle. So pull at it, and now finish the knot, and you will need just a tiny bit of slack so that you can feed it back through, which I will do now. So feed it back through the clamshell, and this is the fiddly part of the necklace. Everything else is a lot easier. So I fed it through, and I've centralized my knot so it's in the middle of the clamshell. And again, I'm just going to put a little bit of glue for safety, but this is optional. A dab of glue in the middle. And I'm just going to give it a couple of seconds to dry. And now I'm going to close it by matching the eyelets at the top first. And then once I'm happy that the eyelets are nice and matching, you can start squeezing the clamshell carefully to close it. Okay, so now we've got a little bit of the tail left, and as you know, I usually like to feed it through, and I'm going to see if we can get it through any of the freshwater pearls. Sometimes it's not possible because the holes in these are not, they don't go straight through. So if I can't do it, I might have to cut it. Okay, I'm not able to put the tiger tail back through the freshwater pearl, and that's because the holes in freshwater pearls, apart from being very small, are not straight. So I'm going to cut. I'm just going to trim my tiger tail, not completely to the edge, but quite close. And I am actually going to put a little dab of glue just at the top. And again, I just feel like it will just keep it safe, and then you don't have to worry about your neck, you know, the knot opening in case the little bit of tiger tail goes through. So just a little dab of glue just below your clamshell and let it dry. Leave it to dry, which we can do whilst I prepare the second thread. So for the next part of the necklace, which is going to be on my chain, I'm going to prepare some little charms, which are beads, and I'm going to do that by putting them on my eye pins. And in our kit, for each of the beads, we've got a little pearl that goes underneath it. So I'm going to make 5 of these. We've got a little mirror bead, which I've just made here, and a platinum pearl, a faceted shell pearl, which I'm going to put with one of our little pearls as well. So that's a mother of pearl bead. A glow bead, a little glass glow bead. And I'm going to do another faceted bead, an oval one, and this one is what we call a half coated bead. So one side has got a metallic coating and one side is just crystal. It's very nice when it has movement, so it's quite special because each side is different. And the last one that I have is what we call a shell spike, and this particular one is going to have to go on a wire because the hole is at the top. So I'm going to just thread it onto the wire for now, and I'll show you how to finish it after I've done the other beads. So these are quite straightforward. I'm just going to loop them. I'm going to do it quickly here, but if you need to see a quick refresher on how to pin and loop your beads, I'm going to put the link for the video now. But once you've threaded them on your pin, you just grab the top with your round nose pliers and make a 90-degree bend. Then with your flash cutters, trim your pin to about 1 centimeter. And now with your round nose pliers, make a loop. And centralize it so all your loops are well finished and ready to go on your chain. I'm going to do the same for the other beads. Okay, so my 5 beaded charms are pinned and looped and ready to go on the necklace. And I'm going to quickly talk you through this shell spike. So it's a natural material and each one looks different, and again the holes in it are not always the same. So I think a 0.4 mil gauge wire should be fine, and thread it through, and then with your fingers pinch it at the top, creating a little V. So it will just leave a very little space above the bead to make sure that when you put your pliers on it, you don't damage it. And next, just grab your little V with your flat nose pliers and straighten out your little edges. And now take one of them and wrap it around twice. And with your flash cutters, cut off the excess as close as you can without damaging the wire, and give it a little squeeze with your flat nose pliers. So now you've got one long length of wire left and your bead at the bottom. And the reason I've done this is because I would like to feed one of my freshwater pearls on top of this, just for extra detail. So I'm just going to slip it on like this, and I'm going to grab it with my round nose pliers and give it a little bend. And now I'm going to turn it round and carry my wire through underneath. And I am going to put a link for how you wire wrap single and double beads for you now, in case this wasn't enough. So we have got a video that shows it in more detail. But I've ended up with a loop here, which I'm now going to take hold of with my flat nose pliers, and I'm going to straighten my wire to the top, and then I'm going to loop it around 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to carry it over my little freshwater pearl till it reaches just underneath. And now I'm going to wrap it over my original coil above the spike bead, my spiked shell bead. So I'm going to just coil it around 3 times. So I end up with a double wire wrap. Now that I have my double bead ready and my coil on the top and the bottom, plus the wire that's sort of gone in front of the freshwater pearl, just as an extra little feature, I'm going to trim off this excess wire with my flush cutters, as close as you can to the coil. And just very carefully with my chain nose pliers, I'm just going to squeeze the little end just underneath my coil so I don't damage the coil. And now all my beads are ready to go. I'm going to join my 2 chains together, and then I'll decide on the spacing of my beads. With my beaded chain ready and my little bead charms ready as well, I'm going to show you how to assemble the necklace. The first thing I'm going to do is attach these 2 parts of the chain together with a jump ring. Quite straightforward. I'm going to take one of my jump rings and open it. Remember to always open your jump rings either forwards or backwards, but not to the sides, so that they retain their shape. You won't need to open it too much because you're not feeding a lot through it. And with my jump ring open, I'm going to put one side of my chain on it and one side of my beaded tiger tail chain on it as well. And then I'm going to close it, and again forwards or backwards. Making sure that there's no gap, because the eyelets on the tiger tail, on the clamshell, are very small, so you don't want it to slip out once it's together. And on the other side, I'm going to join my toggle and bar. And I like having my toggle and bar as a feature when I wear the necklace. So my toggle and bar are going to be at the center, at the bottom, and you can decide if you want the large pearls at the bottom or the small pearls. It's up to you which way round you want to do it. So I'm going to attach these the same way with a jump ring. I'm going to attach one side, the toggle on one side, closing my jump ring carefully so there are no gaps. And another jump ring. And I'm going to put the other end of the chain through it. So make sure you do it on the last link that you've got, and then the second part of my toggle. And I'm going to close it. So now my chain or my necklace is complete, and all I've got left to do is apply my charms onto it. Because I like to have my toggle and bar as a feature, I'm going to put my longest charm just next to the toggle and bar because I like it to hang at the bottom. But if you're doing it the other way round and your toggle and bar and you don't want to wear them as part of your feature, I suggest that you lay out your charms. Usually the larger ones should be closer to the bottom and then graduate them as you go up. So just to give you an idea, and then we can count the spacing. But I'd always have the longest one at the bottom. So either way, make sure that your shell spike hangs from the bottom, whether you're attaching it to the toggle and bar or attaching it to your chain. So I'm putting mine, I'm going to take another jump ring and I'm going to attach it to the jump ring that I've joined my toggle and bar with. So open your jump ring, thread it through the jump ring that you've already got on the necklace, then my bead, and close it. And now I need to space my other 5 beads along the length of chain that I've got. So you can do this by counting how many links you have. I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 2, 4, 6, 8, 22. So I'm going to do every 4 at the bottom and then a slightly bigger gap at the top. And I'm going to attach them with a jump ring. And there's always an option of attaching your loops straight onto a chain, but I would say to make sure that they all hang at more or less the same length and that they're more secure, I would put them on this necklace on a jump ring and close it. I wouldn't attach them straight to the chain. Okay, so the good thing about this is if you attach them and you don't like the layout, you can always open the jump rings and rejig them around and it doesn't damage your loops. So and again, Last one. And our all together now kit necklace is ready. I've put the details for the kit below and also the instructions, which you can just download for free and make as you go along. But I'm sure you will have a lot of people asking you where you got your necklace from. So enjoy making it and enjoy wearing it. And hopefully we'll see you again with our next little project.